We good? Okay, first of all, most important thing, safety glasses. Whenever you are up here working on the Mr. Miyagi Magic Mobile Maker, whenever you're up here using it, you have to have, and I will have many different of those to use. Okay, so mine aren't the best, but you'll have better. And again, we got to thank the PTO for this. So you'll have some cutting tools, and like I said, because of the PTO, they're supplying you with some really good stuff. Wonderful. I knew I was going to do that. There's a couple things you need to think about. One, the pencil part is the bending part. That's where you're going to get your loops. And over here with there's two screws over on this side. That's where you're going to get your small loops to have everything connect up. So it's pretty straightforward. One of the first things you're going to do with your recycled thingy bopper do hanger thing is I want the long side, because if I'm going to make a long piece, I want long pieces. There's something you could do. You could cut it and you could bend it to make it longer. We'll talk about that. It's not necessary. We can kind of go with a small profile, and we'll talk about what that is. So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to cut a longer piece. So I'm going to go off this side. Okay. It's not very difficult to snip, and like I said, the tools that we're going to be getting are going to make it even easier for you. So this is not a wasted piece. This right here is not a wasted piece. You can get small pieces out of this, and we'll talk about that. So now I have my long piece. Can you see it on the table there? Kind of a little bit. What you want to do is you want to take your piece and you want to put it on the line and try to center it the best you can. And one of the things I'm going to have done on here is I'm going to make sure that there's some angle marks. Some angle marks. And we'll talk about those. How you can bend your wire to specifically have a certain angle. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on this thingy bopper do, and I'm going to slide it so there's a little bit more on this right-hand side. Why do I want to do that? Why do you think I want to slide it so there's a little bit more on this side? Sam?
So that once you're bending it.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty close, and it's going to help you. Now watch how simply I do this with my Mr. Miyagi.
Magic Mobile Maker.
You guys got to get better at that. Watch how magical it is. All I'm going to do is I'm going to take my fingers, and I'm going to start to spin. And as I spin it around, I lift it up a little bit. I keep spinning around. I go over the screw and bring it all the way around. Now notice, it's not next to this line yet, so I got to go a little further.
How far do you go?
You want to go to about that point where it's straight.
Is it going to be like a little...
Kind of. Watch. Now that I can pull this off, what I have is I have something that I can hang it from.
Yeah.
Okay? Pretty simple. Now, one of the things I was talking about was being able to have it bent at certain angles and we could talk about forming it to look differently and so on. So what I have is a start. Now if I go over to my little bender over here, all I'm going to do, and I could do this two different ways, and I'll explain this more. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to bend the hooks up, and I'll explain why. All I'm going to do, can you see this?
Yes.
Do we need to get closer?
Yeah.
Okay, let's stop it. Okay, so now that we're closer, all I'm going to do is I'm going to put this little rod kind of in between those two things. And you'll notice all I have to do, again, is start to push and bend. And watch what it does. If I move my stuff, it magically creates a little hook on the end. Sweet. Kind of got to play with it. Spin it out of there. So it makes a hook on the end. You see that? And I'm going to make sure that I do this another one the same way because I want to have the hooks going up. So I double check my work. I just push it through so it's just a little bit through there. And again, I swing it around, come through, bend it all the way over, and I can flip it right off. So now I have two bent ends. Sweet?
Yeah.
That's the start. So pause it there. All right. So I think I made a mistake. What I can do is I can cut this shorter, and I can make a short piece that I need. Let's say I need some short pieces. I got some long pieces. I need some short pieces. So what I do is I say, oh, use my ruler. You can use inches or centimeters. Okay? And I'm going to go off of this side, and I'm going to say I want a piece. I'm going to go with a piece about 5 inches long. Okay? I will have Sharpie markers up here for you to mark things, but I'm just going to kind of estimate, go about there. So I'm going off the center of my hook, going to my 5-inch mark. I'm going to cut it. And then I'm going to make sure that my other is at about 5 inches. About. The closer you get, the more accurate you are.
Wait, so Mr. Someone's wait,
Yes.
how should our mobile at least
That's all up to you.
be? So like it can be like a thick bag or this.
Well, we can't go gigantic. Let's take a look. I'm going to see if it's 5 inches about both sides. If I,
Why isn't it working?
well, if you got to kind of get it in the center, because it's a big loop. And trust me, once you get more things hanging off there, it hangs better. So let's see if I can do that. All right, here we go. I'm going to make my loops again. And again, remember, this is my top of my loop. So I want to go around. Make my loop. I spin it. Just push it through there. Got my thingy bopper do. So let's say I want to now have it bent down a little bit. I can do that. Bend down a little bit. Let's see how it hangs. Now I've got a small side. So I could have a big side. I could have a small side. Bam. Not bad.